Come in here, will I?
Slam Dunk Savings are in Troy. All used cars, slam dunk price. All used trucks, slam dunk price. All used SUVs, slam dunk price. Plus, all you need is a weekly take-home income of $350. Nobody beats a premier deal. Nobody.
The all-new Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center brings all of the latest and advanced 3D mammography and breast ultrasound services to the Troy area in our all-new outpatient facility. Dr. Lauren Thorington, along with our team of certified breast specialists, read your mammograms, which are performed by our registered radiologic technologists, bringing the best in women's healthcare to the Troy area. Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain grill. But I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio, just off the square in Troy.
Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. My name is Mike Amos. His name is Bill Rice Jr. as we start a Monday on our show. And of course, thanks to my good friends out there that have supported my show and since we've started in 1998. And it's been going on for a long time. Bill Rice is with us today.
24 years ago.
Still aching and groaning over his long trip to Orlando.
Yeah, it took about a week. It takes you about just as long as the vacation to recover from the vacation.
Right, give us the starting, when you started and when you ended.
We left. We got up at 4:30 in the morning on Sunday.
This is the Griswolds. This is the Griswolds going to.
Got up about 4:30 in the morning. I said we're going to pull out at 5:30. You know, you make that clear. All right, everybody, we're pulling out at 5:30.
Right. Yeah, I have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're the bad guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, we pulled out at about 5:42, so we're already 12 minutes behind. The train was leaving the station 12 minutes late. That was later proved to be kind of important. But we pulled out about 5:42 on Sunday morning, because check-in at these hotels and resorts is 3 o'clock.
And then steerage check-in too, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes you luck out and you can get early check-in. You know, you don't even have to go to the front desk to check in anymore. At some places, we didn't even have to go to the front desk. Who
told you where your room was?
Well, there's great signs everywhere.
Okay,
and now you've got these GPSs on your the phone devices, and they tell you turn left here, or turn right there. I mean, they get you right literally to your hotel room.
Okay.
Technology is amazing. So we got there at about about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. That was important. Here's why it was important. We had a dinner reservation, Mike, at a real fancy, good, highly recommended place at Disney City at 4:48 p.m. So I said, okay, we're going to get to the hotel at 3. What are we going to do? We're going to unpack, rest for about 10 minutes, and then we got to find this restaurant.
These are the Griswolds.
This is the Griswolds. And then not only that, we're taking a big pontoon boat up this canal system to the said restaurant. I don't know where you get on this boat or how this boat system works.
Never seen the place, have you?
No. And then we're in the resort, and we got to walk through all these trails and roads to where the pontoon boat is. You know, there's this little river canal system that runs through there that gets you to Disney. People who've been to Disney know what Disney. It's like a shopping mecca that has all these restaurants and neat places. We unpacked, probably went to the bathroom, and splashed some cold water on our face, and then off we were trying to find this lobby and this boat launch.
Okay, you had driven how many miles?
419 miles.
And how many hours was that? 419.
I think it ended up taking us about 8 hours.
Okay,
now you got pit stops, and we did. Here's where we also didn't factor in that the interstate highway system would come to a complete halt. We never thought that would happen.
That Highway 75?
It was Highway 70, I think, or 75.
Yeah.
I didn't know that a 3-lane highway would just come to like football traffic and you just boom on a Sunday.
Oh, me.
Because there apparently were accidents and several lanes of traffic were closed. And so we went it took us like an hour to go 10 miles. You know, you've encountered that many times in your life.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's where Daddy got a little nervous. So we're going to miss the reservation to our first big, cool restaurant.
Dinner, and it wasn't dinner now, it was dinner now, wasn't it?
And trust me, at these restaurants, you got to have a reservation or you ain't eating there. I don't want to eat at some little stand that anybody walks and stands in line and gets a corn dog at. I want to eat at I might be poor, but I want to eat like I'm rich.
You're a big time on this trip now.
That's right. That's right. I was going just like my parents used to do. You know, they would. When we did go on a trip, it was first class.
Yeah.
But we didn't go on many. But when we went on one, it was first class. So anyway, we found I weaved through it was the Port of Orleans Riverside Resort, and there's all these sidewalks, and it was like a maze. And we finally found where these big pontoon boats were. Real pretty, and we figured out how to get on the boat. We take a 20-minute boat ride, which is real scenic. You get to see some of the other resorts.
Oh, yeah.
And then you make one turn, and there is Disney City. And then it is a city, and the Boathouse Restaurant is what it's called.
The only way to get there is by this.
Well, you could have gone by car, but I mean, once you park the car, you leave. That's the neat thing about staying at the Disney Resort. You don't have to get in your car the rest of your week. These boat systems are really good. I mean, they got boats coming back and forth nonstop. So we go around the bend and we go up the river, wave to all the other boats and look at the pretty scenery. And there, I can see it. There's our restaurant right on the water. And then we dock, and then we figure out how to walk to the restaurant, and we make it about 5 minutes before our reservation. And it was a great meal, great atmosphere.
Y'all had just got in, too. You didn't have much time to turn around, did you?
So there you go. So, you know, with me pushing everybody, we got to be going at 5:30. We were 12 minutes late. You know, it wouldn't have been quite the rush if we weren't those 12 minutes late getting started, and then that traffic stopping in between Gainesville and Orlando got us. But long story short, we made our first reservation. Great meal, great drinks, great view. Vacation off to a fantastic, and we started to figure out.
Can you figure out what you had for dinner?
It was a seafood restaurant, and I rarely eat seafood, but I got grouper, and they had a really good cold wedge salad that I like. I know you like those.
I like
with blue cheese dressing, and they have a real good like tropical cocktail that was fancy. Yeah. And our waitress was really, really good with the kids. Great view, great ambiance. So
this was before
I would highlight. My wife had done all the research on where we should eat, and she nailed all the places. You know, this was a real good. And then it was really crowded, and we had got our reservation 2 months earlier. Yeah. That's why we got to eat there.
Okay, all right. Now you eat dinner, and then what do you do?
We eat dinner, and then we walk back through window browse at some of the little shops in Disney City, go back, get the boat at the boat launches, drive back to our hotel.
It was dark by now, wasn't it?
Yeah, you take a boat at night. Yeah. It's a pontoon boat that seats about 25, 30 people. And
did you have a dessert?
I think we did have a dessert. I think we did.
I know y'all were doing it first class.
Yeah, I think as much as we ate, I think we did have a dessert. And then I think we sucked it up, and we had a nice pool at our resort, and the kids wanted to swim.
Yeah.
And so when we got there, we went swimming in the resort. The pool stayed
Yeah.
up until 9 or 10.
Uh-huh.
So we got back in for about an hour and a half, had a real good slide that the kids could go down.
Yeah.
And so we walked about 5 minutes to they had 2 pools actually, but we went to the big pool and kids swam, and then about 10 o'clock at night we went to sleep, and the next morning we were up at 5:30 or 6 getting ready to go to the Magic Kingdom.
5:30 in the morning.
And I'll tell you that we'll continue this story tomorrow. I'll give you the high points
Yeah.
of the Magic Kingdom, which I bet you just about everybody watching has been many times to the Magic Kingdom.
You're on Today in L.A. You're talking to Mike Amos.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Of course, on the phone is Mike Amos. He's calling from Grayton Beach, Florida this morning. How do things look?
It's pretty nice down here. Went on the beach yesterday after church and got down there about 10 and wasn't too bad. And then all of a sudden, before we knew it, we couldn't move. We had so many people from Atlanta down for the week. Everybody's trying to get through the week. There's usually a lot of craziness going on with Atlanta kids on 30A. So already heard various reports of misbehavior on different places. So hopefully it won't be a horrible week, but it's never good.
So Atlanta has spring break this week, or were they just finishing up?
Yeah, all of Atlanta this week. Which is
When is Easter? When is Easter?
2 weeks.
not till 17.
See, I always thought that spring was not over until Easter.
Probably.
Yeah, I think Montgomery actually maybe spring break is Easter weekend maybe.
Yeah. So it's going to be a couple of more big crowds before you get ready for the summer months.
I can't get over all the people though. I mean, like one area you see Kentucky tents, one area you see Georgia tents, one area you see Auburn tents, one area you see LSU tents. It's just a little bit of everybody.
So you can identify everybody's favorite team by their tents, huh?
Oh yeah, it's just crazy.
It's SEC teams.
We were out there in the lake yesterday, Dad, and the Gulf of Mexico goes into Western Lake. It flows into the Gulf of Mexico, and I was walking with the girls, and the water was real low in the lake, and we started walking. We're looking for blue crab with the net, and next thing I know, I'll probably see at least a 20-pound stingray in the lake.
Boy. Yeah. Oh boy.
Huge stingray.
Were everybody in the water? Were there a lot of people in the water at the time?
Yeah, but I mean, the fin had been bit off. I guess it had been bitten by a shark, is the only thing I can think. And it was in the lake, I guess, trying to, survive. But I was just thinking to myself, my little girl was running around there, and this thing was huge.
Yeah.
So you never know what's in the lake.
And you were and if I can guess, you were the first one out of the water, wasn't you?
No, I was the first one to actually tell people, though, where it was when I was walking with the girls, because there were several other people walking that way.
Right before you called, Michael, I was giving your dad a recap of my first day at Disney. And one thing I didn't know was at Epcot, they have an aquarium, a pretty big aquarium. And I really I always enjoy aquariums. And so I went to the Disney World Aquarium. And the thing that I was struck by was all the stingrays that were in that aquarium. There were a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And they are real big, and they've got those big stingers. So I can picture what you saw.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if y'all talked about the Duke North Carolina game, but I mean, if that's not what great sporting events are all about, I mean, that game lived up to the hype. I've never enjoyed a basketball game, I think, more. I mean, I was actually kind of sad a little bit for Duke and Coach K. I kind of thought they were kind of destined to win it all, but North Carolina's just tough, man. They're just tough and make big shots after big shots. And I mean, they beat Duke in Krzyzewski's last game at Cameron, and then they beat him in the Final Four. I mean, I guess they're just the better team, but I mean, that was just an unbelievable basketball game. I don't know if y'all watched it.
I didn't get to see all of it, but I thought Duke would going in. I thought Duke was going to win, but heck,
They were
North,
up, weren't they up at one point by
North
64?
Carolina could shoot the basketball game.
They shot the lights out. North Carolina, I mean, Duke was up by 7 to start the second half. And you're like, oh, man, Duke's about to run away with this.
Yeah.
And before you know it, North Carolina scores 14 straight points.
And that,
3 3-pointers.
and for all you folks out there, if you worry about basketball, the first thing you got to do is you've got to shoot the basketball. And it's got to go up there above the rim, and something's got to happen. Either it's going to go through the rim, or you get fouled and go to the free throw line and try to hit some foul shots. But again, if you're out there, if you got 3-point shooters that can shoot it, you can have all these big guys in the world, and you say, "Oh boy, they're pretty."
Yep.
But the guys that are going to win the ball games are those guys that can shoot the three.
Yeah.
Hate to say that.
Duke was horrible from the 3-point line. I think they were like 3 or 4 or 20 or something like that.
You know, and they hadn't been like that at all year.
Yeah, Carolina, that was the difference in the game. And also, I will say Duke missed 3 free throws late. That would have tied.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know.
It always comes down to free throws, the foul line. Well, that sound. I got involved in some binge watching show and forgot about it. But wish I would have watched it. And I read the same thing you read, that it said it was a great college basketball game.
All you folks out there, I want you to hear this, and we're not going to get deep into this right off the bat, but we can talk about it. I finished watching what was my
Ozark?
No, Orlando.
Orlando.
No, the on
Netflix?
Netflix.
That's
On Ozark.
No,
there is a good show named Ozark you need to watch.
it's the Outlanders.
Oh, is it good?
Oh, real good. If you watched it closely, it was real good.
I'm watching the show. I'm binge watching one on the Theranos controversy right now. That's really good. If you remember, that was the company that Elizabeth Holmes started that had created some contraption that was supposed to be able to read your blood from just a little prick and instantly tell you if you had all these diseases. Well, it was a huge fraud. It was and that's made a riveting mini-series. And then there's one called Dope Sick that Michael Keaton stars in.
Did you like it?
It's about all the opioid and OxyContin controversy. Yes, it's really good too.
I saw a
That's
movie.
why. That's what I was watching instead of the Duke North Carolina game.
How was the scrimmage?
It went all right. Had a good time. Saw a lot of former Troy players and met with them. I sort of went around with them, and I got to go in the coaches' rooms and listen to them prepare their players for the practice. Then went out and had breakfast on the patio on the 3rd floor.
Wow.
And then went down and were right there with the coaches and the players as they went through their drills and so forth. And then they finally at the end they had a scrimmage. And there's no question in my mind, Mike, I think Gunnar Watson's going to be our quarterback. But let me tell you, there's a kid out there that I never really paid much attention to.
They talked about him in the write-up.
His name's Hawkins. And he's number 12. And you know what he can do? He not only can throw the football, he can run the football.
Okay.
And what we've always said here, you got to find a quarterback that can run and throw, you know. I don't know. That's just.
Well, what did he do? Is he a red shirt or what's the deal?
Yeah, he got a red shirt last year.
He's from Bainbridge, and I don't even know if he's a scholarship player. Is he a scholarship player?
No, he's scholarship. Yeah, he's
He
the
is?
last quarterback. He was the last quarterback Lindsey signed.
Yeah.
You know, I was really happy and surprised that Joe Craddock, the new offensive coordinator, apparently recruited Charles Strong at running back when he was in
Mike,
Arkansas.
he's back in the.
Former Texas A&M running back, and all the article talked about was how great Charles Strong looked, and Chip Lee did moving the linebacker.
Mike, you're exactly right. I was with the Dothan sports writer, and he's a great guy and a great friend of mine. And we were talking, and I said, hey, where has this guy been? And let me tell you this, he is a big, fine running back. I think he weighs about 225, 220, 225.
That's the guy that transferred from Texas A&M 2
Sure
years?
Sure is.
We saw him at breakfast. We
played
saw
it.
him at breakfast one time, and we talked to him, real nice guy, and we said, he looks like a football player, boy. And but you're right, he got like 10 carries each the last 2 years. You know, he just sat on the bench most of the time.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, he has to be pretty talented at A&M. Gave him a scholarship. He was a 4-star.
Yeah.
Florida.
And they moved him to linebacker, and now they've moved him back to running back.
Yeah, it's like what these eyes see, other eyes don't see, and you know that's a new coach coming in and said, you know, first thing he said when he saw him, and I'm just making this up, but it's the truth. The first thing he said when he saw him, he said, "Boy, he is pretty."
Yeah, that's right.
And he's about 6'2", 6'3". He'll go about 225, at maybe even close to 230 at times. And he's going to be a running back.
Well, I'm surprised he didn't transfer again, the little playing times he got.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you something. I'm a little bit weary. Now we've got to cross our fingers. I don't care what anybody says. You better cross your fingers because the portal is out there, and the portal is looking for players.
Yep.
I read a little article about Jacksonville State. They're not even recruiting high school athletes. Yeah. They're going the portal way. They're going to build their program through the portal.
Right. You can do it. 100%. You don't even need high school football players anymore.
Mike, you know as much about the portal.
And they're in the transition to 1A, so you can get a lot of guys at 1AA that you probably wouldn't go to get in school at 1A.
Exactly right.
Well, you can do it a couple of ways. You can get the second and third string guys at the 1A schools that weren't happy. And then you can get the best 1AA players on it. These guys can play.
Yes, sir.
Every one of these 1A AA team has a couple guys that are big time that could play at the next level.
And I'm sure Craddock said that you know he was at several places. One of them was Arkansas, and you know they just let this guy slip through the slip through the
cracks.
Yeah, slip through the crack because it's going to give Troy some depth at running back, give a big back.
Yeah, I mean, there's no slipping through the cracks. The guy was already on the roster.
Yeah, that's right.
Was able to play.
You know, the coaches, you think they know everything, but then sometimes there's these players that you say, this guy ought to get a chance, or he's pretty good. And then you're just a fan, and everybody says, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And then finally that player does get a chance, and they light it up. I'll tell you one that I've always wondered about that kind of makes my point. Gary Hollingsworth is an Alabama quarterback who sits on the bench for 3 or 4 years, redshirted. Right. And then, they finally get him the second string, but he doesn't beat out the starter, who I can't even remember his name. Then the starter gets hurt in about the second or third game. Then they bring Gary Hollingsworth in. I tell you, from his first series, he looked like an All-American.
6'5", 6'6".
He was completing passes like it was he was playing with kindergarten kids. And so my question is, why didn't the coaches see this before?
That team started the year 10-0, if you'll remember, under Coach Bill Curry.
They missed sometimes.
And they had Homer Smith as the
imagine if Jamie Hampton there would have got hurt for Troy. Look what Levi Brown did.
You're exactly right. Boy, you know what? When I look at the record books, Mike, I'm overly or overwhelmed with how good he was.
Levi Brown, he's the guy that played a little was the free agent for Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that's right. And
but you're right. When he came in, he looked like a pro quarterback to me. His arm and confidence. Yeah. But he would not have gotten a chance unless somebody got hurt.
Exactly right. And one of my favorite players of all time, Mike, the one that got hurt. And after running, 89 yards against Mississippi State one night.
That guy.
Played great against Ohio State one night, too.
Yeah. And he got caught from behind. And he really was pretty fast. He would have had an added dimension as the running quarterback.
Yeah,
rough weekend for Troy baseball. They got lost 2 or 3 to Arkansas Little Rock, who had a losing record. I was kind of surprised to see that.
that team was the bottom team in the order.
Well, that's what happened to us in basketball. That's kind of sunk our basketball season. We were playing for the regular season title, and then we at home lose to the last place team.
Yes, that's exactly right. And,
yeah, you don't expect that with Arkansas Little Rock coming out. I think a lot of people thought you're going to see a sweep, but Troy barely won the first game, 5-4 on Friday. Then they lost Saturday 4-3 after having the lead going into, I think, the 8th. Then they got kind of blown out on Sunday, 10-6.
You know, I was at a function, and really was a nice function. They brought back all the former Troy State football players, at least quite a group of them, and so I watched that game in left field. And let me tell you this: the cutest, the nicest, and the sweetest, and all the accolades can go out to the coaches' wives, Coach Meade's wife, and all the assistant coaches' wives. They were sitting there having the best time in the world. And when that kid knocked that run in and they went on a walk-off single, you thought you had just seen the World Series in. These kids, these wives and these fans got so excited in left field.
Well,
now see, they've had some amenities. These guys, my friends that cook from out there, you know, a lot of barbecue grills, a lot of cool beverage and all that.
A lot of adult beverages.
And a lot of fun and fanfare. But when that game ended on a single right field and big, it just went crazy.
And they're all in left field, aren't they? That's where
they're having a time of their life, and they're great people. These coaches' wives were just so congenial, and they were handing out a lot of other amenities. You know, everybody was in there, and I met Coach Meade's daddy, and he was just a fine man, and just so much fun.
You said that's the funnest place to watch the game, is in left.
And you know, Coach Meade has been a lot of places, but you know, Louisville is where he actually played and was a great player. And I want to say they went all the way to the College World Series.
Yeah, they did.
And Coach Meade was one of the pitchers.
Need to mention the Troy ladies softball team took 2 out of 3 at home against Georgia State as well. So they're 22-10, 8-4 in the conference.
Well, they're doing real well.
That's good.
Mike, you know, back to the football guys were having a big fish fry. Coach Coach Larry Blakeney was out there. Gosh, Mike.
Oh wow, how was he doing?
Oh, he was doing fine, and everybody just, you know, it was Larry Blakeney night, and everybody was so glad to see him, and what a wonderful guy he is. You know. He makes every guy. He makes every guy feel good because he makes every guy and every friend look special.
Yeah.
And he was doing well, and Janice was there, and the chancellor came by and spoke, and Janice, his wife, and it was just a great night of fellowship with all these former football players.
Lloyd Taylor do the cooking?
Lloyd Taylor did it, and it was the best fish.
Was Max there?
Yeah, Max was there. And I tell you what, those hush puppies, if there is a better hush puppy than the hush puppy Lloyd makes, I want to see it.
I had
delicious.
Hush puppies are in the cornbread family, and guess where I ate after church yesterday?
I'll tell you where I ate, and we'll judge everything. All right, I don't know where you eat.
I ate at Red Schoolhouse Restaurant in Grady.
Well, that's where I ate yesterday.
Well, you must have been before me because we ate kind of late.
All right, I was there before, and I had Miss Jacqueline Floyd with me and my wife, and I had
so you probably got some of that cornbread.
Fresh cut corn. I had the fried cornbread. I had
chicken, fried chicken.
Oh, did I have fried chicken? I had the pulley bones, and I had some. Gosh, it was everything was good. Rutabagas. I had some rutabagas. You getting rutabagas?
No, but
shame on you.
I'm not a rutabaga man.
Wait a minute.
I got the salad. I got potato salad. I got cream corn, green beans, butter beans, fried chicken, rice and gravy, and cornbread.
Did you eat any of those cold plates? They have a
I use those. I availed myself of those.
Oh man, it was delicious.
So
everything was good. I saw.
How much is a buffet at Red Schoolhouse these days?
I'll tell you what, it's gone up. With tea, I paid. I paid almost about $16, $17.
Well, here's what they were real
and it's
nice.
Worth it. It's worth every bit of it, but they have gone up in price.
I had my wife and me and then 2 kids. And first they rung it up and it was going to be one price. And then they said, wait, how old are your kids? And we told them, I said, no, they get the kids' price.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for 4 people. I'll tell you, for 4 people with a tea, 4 drinks, it was $42. So that's $10 a meal, which is all that food is pretty good.
It's not.
They still have that fluff thing, like it's like whipped cream, pineapple, marshmallow.
Oh yeah, they have that good. Yeah, they have a lot of that. And they had one done with lime.
Their cornbread and rice and gravy is probably the best I've ever had. And then I actually like their barbecue pork too.
Yeah, they have that. That's a staple too.
I didn't even touch the pork.
My wife got 1 piece of chicken and the barbecue pork.
Yeah, a lot of people love the barbecue.
You know, you pass Rex Lumber, or where Rex Lumber is, on your way to Reds. And I've always wondered, how can you spend $72 million is what that company invested in this Pike County facility. Think about that, $72 million project.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how do you recoup $72 million? And I said, what do you use wood for? You use it to build houses.
You sure do.
Well, you don't see a ton of houses being built in Alabama or Pike County.
In Troy, Alabama, you do.
Well, you do now. You're right.
I bet there's 40 houses going up.
You dang sure do in Pike Road, too.
Yeah.
Well, where did I just come from? Florida and Central Florida. And what do you see everywhere? Houses and building houses. And I said, well, a little light went off. That's where they're building all these houses, and that's why they need all this lumber.
Outside of Panama City, let me tell you this. There's a development outside of Panama City, like you're going toward Ebro, between Ebro and the Panama City Beach. They're building thousands. They're building not hundreds, but thousands of houses.
Well, you've been to Central Florida, and you passed through.
How about when it's totally done, they plan on having 50,000 homes.
Oh my God!
50,000. Yes, right. And it's all located between Ebro and the beach.
That's almost in Alabama.
St. Joe owns all the watercolor on 38.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff in Panama City Beach. They own all kinds of stuff in Mexico Beach. I mean, they're one of the most wealthiest families.
So they are building that. I passed through this area, retirement community town, I guess, called the Villages. I know y'all are familiar with it.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's massive. I mean, it's just all, and they must all be retirees from New York, New Jersey, Ohio that have
They're
moved.
building for the Yankees.
The
Yankees moving south. And
they're getting away from the high taxes and regulations.
That's right.
They've gotten their incomes. They're on their pensions. And
somebody
they are
told
going
me,
to Florida.
Somebody told me, why does the golf, all these pro golfers move to Florida? Well, just think of if
no state income tax.
No state income tax.
That saves them 10% right there.
That's right. And think of the.
Say if you make $2 million, which you'll make if you win a tournament. Right. If you lived in California, I take the state income tax for wealthy people in California is 13%.
Yeah.
So let's say you made $1 million on a purse. Well, the state of California would take $130,000 before you even got your check. The state of Florida's not going to take a cent.
Yeah. And it makes all the difference.
So all the golfers live in the state of Florida.
That's right. That's right. Of course, we've got a lot to talk about today. Of course, Final Four ends tonight, and Steve Kemp was the only fellow that got a team in the Final Four.
We didn't even score anything else of it.
He
automatically won.
Automatically. But it was fun playing the game, and like Mike said, he was out of the picture right off the bat, wasn't it, Mike?
Well, I mean, I did all right in my Sweet 16. I had 10 out of 16, but I didn't have anybody left after. Well, I had Kansas left after the Elite Eight.
10 out of 16 in the Sweet 16 is excellent. So you were looking great, and then you just had a nightmare in the next round.
Steve said, "I'll just take Kansas," and he automatically wins.
Well, none of us else.
Need to mention South Carolina won the ladies, the women's national championship last night. Beat UConn.
They're really good, aren't they?
Haven't they won a couple now?
Yeah, there's actually lines on the women's Final Four.
Oh, really? Well, Texas A&M disappointed me. Everybody thought that they would win the NIT, and they didn't.
Well, that's probably what's the line tonight?
They're up by 8, up by 10 in the second half. And, Xavier came back and won. I'll check and see. I would imagine Kansas is a slight favorite.
Kansas, I want to make sure that you know that the Wiley Sanders Truck Line show immediately following our show today, and appreciate Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. If you're looking for a career in the trucking industry, no better place than right here in Troy, Alabama.
Kansas is a 4-point favorite.
Both lines yesterday were 4. One favorite covered the 4-point, Kansas, and then one underdog. North Carolina was a 4-point underdog, and they covered.
I tell you what, I sort of like North Carolina. That
getting 4.
Yeah. Well, what do you like, Mike? Who do you like in that game?
I'll be honest with you, man. I am clueless when it comes to basketball this year. I'm not one to ask anymore. I'll be honest. I gotta think North Carolina's kind of like a team of destiny. I mean, they beat Duke twice, like I mentioned before, and they beat a really good UCLA team. They beat some really good teams to get there. It's just the amazing thing about North Carolina. I don't know if you'll realize they have no bench.
Yeah.
They play their starters almost 38 minutes.
So they
brought one guy in off the bench. A lot of guys played 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So if they get in foul trouble, they're in trouble. But I don't know. I'd have to lean towards North Carolina, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch tonight. The finals of the.
My brother-in-law, your son-in-law, will be having a party and probably more excited than anybody I know. I mean, both his parents are North Carolina grads, and they had a long-standing relationship with the athletic director there for several years, and I know he's going to be really excited for the game.
Yeah, no, it's going to be big, and so I'm sure they'll have a big party at their house getting ready for that game. What time does it start, Mike? I've got it at 8.
It'll be give me a late start, 8:20 on TBS.
Yeah, on TBS.
I will tell you, I will make another beach trip. I mean, the Orlando observation.
Well, yeah, we're enjoying that. No question about it.
What you have in Florida that you don't have in Alabama yet, except for maybe one place, is pay toll roads and highways.
Oh, yeah.
They're everywhere up north, apparently, which I don't go up north. But there were several times when I had to throw change into and then they've got the cameras everywhere that I've noticed that they'll give you these red light or speeding tickets. And I guess if you go through the toll without paying the toll, you're going to get a bill in the mail.
They took a picture of your plate. Isn't that right, Mike?
But I think that's expanding more and more so that it's not there. They get you other ways, and these toll roads are. I mean, y'all tell me, isn't there just one little toll road going to Gulf Shores or Fort Morgan?
I didn't even know
Tim James created.
Midday Bridge going into Destin.
Oh yeah, Bob James has got a toll road. Did y'all know that?
Yeah, that's where they made it.
I've been taking the one off off the interstate in Tuscaloosa going to Starkville, Mississippi, Columbus, Mississippi for years. We take all
but you know.
Is it a toll road?
Oh yeah, you pay.
You know,
well, there are a couple little ones like there's.
$1.50 there and $1.50 back.
I would think Bob James has made millions and millions off that toll road.
Well, I think that's where Tim James, his son, gets all his money. He's running for governor.
Let me tell you something.
The one in Tuscaloosa is totally worth it. You bypass all of 82. You know how long 82 is in Tuscaloosa?
Well, it is worth it. I mean, if you got gas that's $4 a gallon and you go 20 miles, if you can save 20 miles, you just save $4.
Yeah. But
wife the other day, you know, our car takes premium, and I said, I think maybe we should just pay regular for the time being. I don't think the car's going to break down on us.
Well, your mama still believes in total premium, and I said, you know, when you're paying close to $5 a gallon, it seems like you would want to make a change, but she said that's what the book says, and that's what I'm going to do.
I'll tell you what, if they used to say, here's what the shampoo makers used to say. They used to say wash, rinse, and what? Repeat.
But she
do you really need to repeat?
Yeah.
No, but because you repeated, you went through that bottle of shampoo, and half the time, and you had to buy twice as much shampoo every year.
Yeah.
So there is an ulterior motive for these directions.
Yeah. I thought about Buddy one day, and this guy's done well in life, and the guy's got a Porsche, he's got a Range Rover, he's got a Mercedes. I said, so I guess all these are premium, and he said, man, I don't put premium in any of these. I put regular. I don't care about that kind of stuff. This guy's got more money than anybody I know.
You know, I know a little bit about the gas business because my dad and grandfather being in that business so long. And you talk about why is California's gas $6 plus a gallon? Well, it's a lot of it is taxes, and then a lot of it is environmental regulations, and there are formulations for all gas is not the same, Mike. They put different stuff in it to save the environment. Now, all of that stuff, the different formulated gas, it goes through pipelines that are all under the ground all across America. And so you've got these, the pipeline is running with, you know, gas A for 2 hours, and it's clogged up, and there are supply and demand issues, not because there's a shortage of gas, but it's because people in California got to have a certain environmentally friendly gas that you don't have to have in Alabama.
Yeah, that's something. You know, on a sad note, I want to mention that Miss Paula Copeland died. You know, a long-time Trojan, and was considered by many to be one of the most athletic women. She played golf, just outstanding golfer, but she just was always very athletic and a very nice lady. And she's Margaret Mosley and Barbara Mosley, her two sisters, were good friends of my older brother who passed away just this last week, and these were Miss Paula Moses'
good friends.
With her sisters, and like I said, good friend of my brother's who died just recently. Paula, I can see right now as a young boy caddying, and the women's golf, you know, was pretty big in Troy one time, but Miss Paula Copeland would tee off, and Miss Virginia Colley, Miss Fan Ashworth. Of course, Fan Ashworth was probably the best woman golfer in Troy at the time, and Miss Hanchy and Miss George O'Neill, and they go.
That was the women golfers.
I'll tell you another one that played a lot was Miss Little. Miss Corley, played
Lorraine.
Lorraine, but Miss another one that I can't run off Miss Little. Miss Little was also an outstanding golfer, but women's golf back when these ladies were playing was a pretty
you know, I had forgot that. I remember all of those ladies playing.
Yeah.
And Virginia Colley lived across the street from where I grew up.
That's right, classy lady.
It sure was,
yeah.
and I remember her playing golf, and I remember Lorraine playing golf,
that's
and
right.
Paula.
Paula was just real athletic, and you know, and lovely lady, and of course her son Peter and Josh, and I pretty much grew up with Josh a little bit. He's not too far behind me, and our prayers and our thoughts go with your family. And I tell you what, they own quite a bit of timberland. You wonder, you see all this timber out there? Well, let me tell you this family owned a lot of it.
It's a good time to own timber, I would guess.
Yeah.
And we also saw
Pam. I don't want to forget you, Pam. Pam, Sonny Queen's daughter, married Josh, and the great Sonny Queen who coached your daddy in high school football.
Coach Queen. Well, we ate breakfast after the show on Friday at Julius, and we saw Julius Pittman and his family that were gathered after the loss of Julius's dad, also Julius. We're still mourning the loss of Mr. Pittman, who was a fine man. You know, I didn't know that Julius Pittman and Mr. Walters, the painter, were brothers.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Walters' son is Philip, that was in my class.
Yeah.
He was a good athlete, and he played baseball and played center field just like his first cousin Julius Pittman did.
And then one of the guys I saw before we left was Pittman that
works at Troy University physical plant.
Well, I saw him, too, but also, he was in my class of 1965, and great people, and. Julius's dad was a Marine.
He
took great pride in being in the Marine Corps. And K.T. Cole always marveled at him being so patriotic, and if you're going to do something, you're going to do it well, and that's what Julius Pittman Sr. did. He was really an outstanding person and loved his country as much as anybody I know.
He was an original person. He was always fun. He was always fun to listen to and be around. He and his wife, who passed away about 8 months before him. That happens a lot. Your wife dies, and then shortly after the husband dies.
And I'll tell you this right now.
They ate out a lot, so when we would go out and eat out, we would see Mr. and Mrs. Pittman at the same places.
Well, I tell you, young Julius Pittman split in at Troy University, and I was sitting in the bleachers watching Troy play West Georgia in a game that was played at Tom Garrett Field in Phoenix City. They
I remember
that game and played it at Tom Garrett Stadium, which Tom Garrett, the daddy, was a former Troy University athlete years ago. But Tom Garrett, senior, junior, and I went to school together at Charles Henderson High School. But back to Julius Pittman, I saw him score 3 touchdowns one afternoon as Troy defeated West Georgia in a game that was played at Tom Garrett Field, the same field that Julius's daddy played on years ago when he was at Central High Phoenix City
That's amazing.
It really is.
That was Julius. He was a punt returner too, and that was his kind of coming out. I tell you, I can date that because I was just hired as the sports editor of the Troy Messenger, just out of college, or not long out of college. And one of the first stories I remember writing for the Messenger was about Julius Pittman running that punt back for a touchdown.
But don't you know how much pride Julius's daddy, I told you he's a proud man anyway, but how much pride he took in seeing his son come back to the stadium where Julius's daddy played and score 3 touchdowns. That was really something.
Julius was he was in Bobby's class, the class of '86 at Charles Henderson High School. So he's one of those Charles Henderson players that also did well in college.
And
he played with Bobby, Sam Dre, Danny Lee, but he was really probably the Richard Green. But Julius was the best athlete on the team. He also played safety, and he also on baseball he played center field. He's a great all-around athlete.
Well, let me tell you something. You just rang a bell with me. Julius Pittman might have been the best center fielder that has ever played at Charles Henderson High School. Now, Jerry Allen, a guy that you know pretty well too, that played with me my senior year, was a great center fielder. But if it was hit the center field, Julius wasn't going to get it.
As far as a defensive center fielder,
defensive center fielder, and Jerry Allen was the same way in my class in '64. and 65.
They have had some great center fielders, though.
But if the ball was hit out there, you just forget it. hey, he's going to get it if it stays in the park.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And Troy,
Auburn's spring games coming up soon. It looks like the quarterback race will really not be decided until the summer. Right now, T.J. Finley's running with the ones. Oregon transferred Robbie Ashford. Of course, he played at Hoover.
is
Four-star freshman quarterback.
did he play much at Oregon, Mike?
No, he didn't play at all at Oregon. Actually, at the bench. But Zach Calzada, the Texas A&M quarterback that beat Alabama last year, got a lingering shoulder injury and has been wearing a yellow jersey, so he's not been able to really participate much in spring. So, according to this article, it looks like nothing will really be decided until the summer.
Well, who is this last guy you were talking about?
Holden Garner.
Yeah, who is he?
Freshman. Some freshman quarterback at Auburn.
Where did he come from? Coleman?
I want to say from Holden.
Hovind. Wait a minute.
He was
Hovind.
redshirt. I think he was a 4-star prospect. I think I read somewhere.
And where did he come from, Mike? You know, the reason I'm asking these questions, this guy is evidently in the run for it, Mike.
Right now. I think it'll end up being the kid from Texas A&M, but I didn't know that he had this lingering shoulder injury, and it's going to hurt him that he can't participate in the spring.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess he's getting to watch and learn a little bit.
Let me tell you this. I still, y'all jumped all over me because I sort of leaned toward Auburn this year. Let me tell you something. I think Auburn is very well coached, no question about it. You on Today in L.A., how you doing this morning?
Hey, Mike, it's Will Matthews.
Will Matthews, won't you please come home? Will, have you got any whiny babies anywhere around?
No.
Well, they're down the street. They're next door down the street.
They're living in my house and not in open.
Well, I'll tell you this. I know people in Ozark that know you and your family are glad to have your family back in town.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
It'll be nice when David's house is finished and they come up to Ozark.
Yeah. All right. It's the Masters week. Is that right?
That's right.
And you're
Who
going.
do you
When are
like?
you?
Who
When
do
are
you
you?
like?
When are you going over there?
I'm going Thursday afternoon. I'm going to go to Friday's round.
Where are you going to stay Thursday?
Well, I hadn't decided. Usually what I do, I've got a American Express travel guy that I call, and it's free, and he gets me a room somewhere, so they'll look. I'm going to try to stay in South Carolina, across the river.
Oh, how far is?
In South Carolina.
How far is that from Augusta?
Oh, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me tell you an anecdote I heard when I'm researching another story, and of all things, I might interview this what they call a plane master or something. This is a guy that worked for flight control towers his whole life, and now he's retired, and he goes to places like Augusta that has a ton of private jets fly in.
Oh, really?
And he coordinates the air traffic control.
Yeah.
And apparently there are private jets from all over the world, and definitely all over, not just the players, but the big wigs and companies that converge on this little airport in Augusta.
Will, you got tickets for the whole shebang?
No.
You just going to
One
go?
day.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be a lot of fun. I know you're looking forward to it. Now, if you got my, I want a couple of hats if you'll bring me back some. Bring me back a couple of hats.
You want to?
Send me the colors.
All right, I will.
What size?
Yeah.
What size you want?
Well, it one size fits all, doesn't it? I didn't
I
know.
don't know.
Yeah. All right, I'll do it. But you're gonna be heading out when? Tomorrow?
Thursday afternoon.
Thursday.
How long does it take to drive over there?
I'd say probably 5.5, 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, getting
I'm
back.
taking my daughter, and my daughter will drive most of the way.
Good.
Oh, that'll be fun. That's the way.
Hold on.
Yeah, let's bring Mike in there.
Good morning. You're on Today in L.A.
Just calling back.
We got Will Matthews on the phone, Mike. He's yupping it up today, just like all of the well-to-do people from Ozark. He's yupping it up, getting ready to go to the Masters.
For his 52nd time, so it's not. You say it's not his first rodeo. It's not his first Masters.
Now,
This will be 53.
yeah.
53 times.
Now, and let me say this: it does not matter though, as long as he's got a friend named Bobby Jones, who is one of his best friends, was a roommate at Vanderbilt. It just happens to be Will Matthews' best friend, and all you got to do is say, "Well, I'm with Robert Jones the Fourth."
Well, I haven't been able to get me a ticket the last 5 or 6 years.
I know, but y'all are still real close friends, and it doesn't.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have lunch. Now we're gonna have lunch in the clubhouse on Friday. Get clubhouse tickets.
Yeah. So you guys that just have tickets say, "Oh, look in there, look in there. That's Will Matthews from Ozark."
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put in my order. I'll give Dad some money this weekend. I want a white visor and a green visor.
Just text me. Text me what you want, what your daddy wants.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a list. I'll be bringing stuff back to a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I was looking on Facebook. You had your picture made with several golfers at the Champions event in Biloxi.
Yeah.
So you were with Joe Durant, who played.
Oh yeah.
Brian Gay, Delville. I guess
Played in Florida.
Your cousin Doug Barron.
Yeah.
Was that a fun event?
Doug played good when I was there, and then I left and went to hell.
Yeah.
He was 7 under in fourth place, and then on the last day he shot a 75, and he wound up 24th.
Now, how is Doug Barron related to you?
My aunt's his aunt.
Is your aunt is
Y'all
his
probably
aunt.
second cousins, maybe something like that.
And his mama and my aunt lived next door to each other in Memphis.
Oh, that's a pretty good address. Now, I tell you what, this Ozark.
She's 87.
Were you on the practice tee? I saw you taking pictures of Bernhard Longer.
Yeah, and Ernie Els. I've got a bunch of good stuff.
Well,
There's some big players there.
Longer is 64 and still winning, which is pretty incredible.
yeah,
Yeah, he had a bad week though. I think he was like 1 under for the week.
yeah. A guy shot 62, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 10 birdies and no bogeys on Saturday.
And to be honest with you, I've never heard of him in my life.
He's from
New Zealand, I think.
that's right, yeah.
He's from New Zealand, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys played Corn Fair Tour, and before they played the Senior Tour, some of these guys, they start playing really well late in their 40s, and then they kind of carry it on to the Champions Tour, it looks like.
Will, if there's a possibility that you could come on our show on Tuesday tomorrow, I'll buy you breakfast and we can talk about the golf tournament in full.
Well, I've got court every day this week.
So you're gonna have a hard time getting away, aren't you?
Wednesday, I might not have court.
Well, if you can, come on up here and see us. That'd be fun to have you on board with me, with Bill Rice.
The big news is Tiger Woods is on the ground practicing, and will be a game time or game day decision if he'll play the tournament, which is huge news.
I bet he'll play.
He's gonna play.
I bet he does. This thing's too big for him not to play. You know.
He's gonna try.
Well, that's the one tournament that he can always compete at. Apparently, is just it fits his game. So if he's going to play at one tournament, this will be the one. And also, but although I hear that it's such a long and hilly course that makes it a little more challenging with his leg issues to walk it.
Yeah. The times that I have gone, and most of the times I've gone is to go to practice rounds. The A-man's corner is you can actually see 3 or 4 greens at one time. Will, what is it?
11 and 12.
Yeah, 11 and 12, and that's part of the swing around the corner. Is that right? A-man's corner.
That's right.
And well, give us.
Well, I bet if the azaleas are blooming in Augusta like they're blooming in Troy, it's going to be beautiful on TV. But I bet they probably bloom a little early up there in the north. Have you heard an azalea report?
Oh, they'll be beautiful.
They've been beautiful in my yard, and I will say, and I'm bragging. Okay. I think I've got the prettiest azaleas in Pike County.
I'm on the way home. I'm gonna look at them.
And they're huge azaleas, and they came from Miss Pearl Peacock's yard. And when we moved over there where we live, we got some of those azaleas and planted them in my yard.
I went down College Street the other day, and there's one yard that has some big azaleas, and it's just nothing but pink. I mean, completely round. It's beautiful.
Let me tell you, and Ozark's got the same view. What's the name of that main street in Ozark where you live, Will?
Broad Street.
Broad Street. If you don't live in Broad Street, you're in trouble. Is that right?
Well, that's where my son's going to be living when he moves to Ozark.
Yeah, well, that's great. How old is that house that y'all are remodeling?
It's 120 years old.
Wow.
Oh boy!
Gosh.
Not quite to the squared nail type.
Born constructed at the turn of the century, 1902.
Your family.
We got Major League Baseball starting on Thursday. Is anybody care?
Not really.
No.
I must say no.
Look.
Will, did you get to watch that great basketball game between North Carolina and Duke? I'm talking to 2 people that didn't even watch it.
I watched it. I loved every minute of it.
I mean, it was an unbelievable basketball game.
Yeah.
There was only one bad thing about it. I bet on Duke and I lost.
I know how a lot of people feel. Yeah.
Well, I bet on it, and I had North Carolina.
But you know what they were betting on? They were betting on the coach, not the team, and that was a problem.
Bill, I've got a friend of mine from South Africa, and he actually played golf at Troy for 2 years. He played at Wallace College, and they were national champions. And then he went to Troy and played at Troy for 2 years. But he lives in Dothan. He's probably 51 or 2 years old. Anyway, he's going to call you because he wants to know how to bet on the Masters.
Okay, yeah. Give me my number.
I gave him your number.
Well, it's something about you get.
It's legal now in most states, and you can bet on who makes the cut, who head-to-head matches, who's going to win on that day, who's going to be in the top 10, top 5, top 20. Who's going to win? You get odds, so if you bet Sergio Garcia is due to win the Masters, you could probably get 50 to 1 odds and bet $10 and win.
Well, Sergio's won 2 Masters already, hasn't he?
Well, he has, I think.
Roy McIlroy's trying to get the Grand Slam, trying to win the Masters.
I just use him as an example that you get odds on, so you can pick a long. It's like horse racing. You can pick a long shot and make a little bet and win a lot of money.
I'll take the guy from Japan. I'll take him. What's his name?
The one last year?
Yeah, Hideki. I'll take him. He always does pretty well.
I'll take John Rahm to win it.
John Rahm, yeah, he's
well,
pretty good.
He'll be the favorite. He'll probably be about 5 to 1. You bet $10 on him and you could win 50 if he won.
Well, I tell you,
I was watching a former Vanderbilt golfer play yesterday, Grant Snedeker.
Yeah.
And he had won a year. He had the lead or tied for the lead going into the tournament yesterday, and didn't even make a birdie. Couldn't believe
he played terrible.
Well, who won the tournament yesterday?
Who played pretty good was Matt Kuchar. Played pretty good. He finished second, tied for second.
Yeah.
Some guy you never heard of in your life named J.J. Spawn. Never won a tournament ever.
Is he American?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We've had 10 first-time winners this
It's the most I can ever remember. It was unreal.
They're all good. It's like Will says. All these guys are so good.
But
it's got to be so hard to win. You know, even if you are that good.
I don't care what any of you folks out there say. I don't care what any of you folks say. Give me Bubba. I want Bubba.
It's good to pull for Bubba's
No way. Don't say that, Will. Don't say that.
I like Bubba too.
Bubba is a has-been. He's over.
But, Bubba was the kind of guy for you like to root for because nobody ever gave him any respect. He's a
He's won about 10 tournaments.
I know it. He's a Rodney Dangerfield. Nobody ever gave him any respect.
You know what I've read about Bubba, and Will could probably confirm if this is true. Bubba says he has never had a golf lesson in his life. He's completely self-taught.
I wouldn't doubt it.
But he played at Bay Minette. He played the
Alabama
junior college down at Bay
him,
Minette, didn't he?
He played at Faulkner, wherever Faulkner is.
At Bay
Faulkner
Minette,
State, junior college, whatever.
Of downtown Bay Minette.
For 2 years. I think that's where Mr. Branch was president for a long time.
Will, if you had to bet on one, which one would you bet on? I want to hear this.
Of any golfer
Yeah.
to win the Masters,
Yes, sir.
Scotty Scheffler.
He is playing pretty well, isn't he?
All right, give me your safe bets to finish in the top 10, and I'm going to listen to you with real keen.
Lee Westwood.
All right, give me some more that you think are going to finish in this B, then it's on the leaderboard at the end.
Justin Thomas in the top 10.
Who?
Justin Thomas, Dustin Johnson. I don't think Speed's playing worth a flip.
Yeah.
You ever know.
I know, but he plays great at the Masters.
I think Dustin Johnson's a guy to look at.
Okay.
One thing, he's very long, and you got to be long to have a chance.
What about what's his name that was the story of golf last year? What's happened to him? Hits the ball.
DeChambeau is pitiful.
Yeah, what has happened to him?
He disappeared. He lost it.
He's got injuries. He's been hurt.
Is he gonna play or not?
I don't know. I think he had some surgery.
He's in the field.
Will, tell us what's so different now. Every swing's the same. Is that right?
No.
No, everybody's got a different swing.
No, but DeChambeau, though, when I'm thinking about it, what is his philosophy?
He gained a bunch of weight, lifted weights, and got muscles and all that,
Yeah, but
all his shots are the same length.
that's what I was thinking about.
He did it the way nobody else has ever done
If it was a thing to do, why wouldn't more people do it? And do you?
They tell me his irons, Michael, not his driver.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but his irons are all the same length.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that's a great question. It's because it's a great lesson there. People are afraid to do something different.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the best example I found in my sports research, Mr. Amos. Rick Barry shooting free throws underhanded.
Like that, exactly.
The best free throw shooting percentage of all time, almost, or he's in the top 2 or 3. Nobody does. He proved that this is the way to shoot. And other people have done it and done just. But it looks so silly, and they call it the shooting grandma style.
Yeah.
That people don't do it.
And why for him to
there is a lesson there about people. Being afraid to do it, go against conventional wisdom.
Yeah, but just saying, that goes back to saying,
the other example is for decades people high jumped what they called the Western roll.
They call it the Fosbury flop.
Well, then Mr. Fosbury came along and said we ain't doing it right.
Yeah, that's right.
And he created a whole new way of doing
the Fosbury flop.
And it worked so good that soon, within like 3 years of that, everybody was doing, and I'm going to give you one more example. For decades, everybody kicked extra points in football and field goals with their toe. And then one guy comes along and says, no, you kick it like a soccer ball.
I want to say it was a Jan Stenerud. Was it Jan Stenerud?
But he was one of the early
ones.
Horst
Muleman. No, Dempsey, he kicked it straight on.
So anyway, one guy said, this is the way to do it. And the first people said, what? and within about 20 years, I would say 100% of field goal. So who's to say that what's his name that we're talking about? He might be doing it right, and everybody's been doing it wrong all along.
Here's your 2022 Masters odds. John Rahm, if you took John Rahm plus 1,000, that's your best odds. Jordan Spieth plus 1,300.
Plus 1,000, that means 10 to 1 odds. So if you bet
10 to 1. Justin Thomas plus 14. Cameron Smith plus 1,400. Colin Markov plus 1,600. Dustin Johnson plus 1,600. Scotty Scheffler, who's won 3 times this year, plus 1,600. Roy McIlroy plus 1,800. Brooks Koepka plus 1,800. Remember this name. This guy's a great player. Victor Hovland plus 1,800. And Xander Schauffele plus 2,200. If you took Tiger Woods to win the Masters, it would be plus 5,000.
You know what?
That's 50 to 1.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
So you can.
Another name to keep an eye on, though, is Cameron Smith, the guy out of Australia. It's a phenomenal player, and Australian players play the Masters well.
What are his odds?
Y'all asked the question.
1,400.
That's
14 to 1.
Yeah. All right, Will.
Y'all asked a question, and nobody answered it, but I know the answer. Is the first soccer-style kicker in the NFL.
Jan Stenerud.
What Jan Stenerud?
I found it in my research. I didn't recognize his name.
Horst Muhlman.
No.
The
guy kicked for the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. He did.
Pete Gogolak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete Gogolak.
Wow,
okay,
impressive.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah, let me
He
tell
revolutionized the field goal kick.
You know, your next door neighbor holds is the first soccer style kicker I've ever seen here in Troy.
Dwayne Webb.
He was for Charles Henson. He's the first guy I've ever seen kick soccer style.
Well, he was a pioneer.
That's right.
It took some courage to do it differently.
Yeah, it did.
That's my point. Is it takes some courage to go against the grain, and DeChambeau, it takes some courage to do that. Rick Barry, it took some courage. Fosbury, it took some courage. That guy that Will just said, it took some courage.
It sure did.
To try it. You know, what got me started on this, folks, is I did a freelance story that a lot of people read. I got paid for it on the great Jeopardy champion James Holzhauser, and I just pointed out that this guy is playing the game completely different than everybody's played Jeopardy for 40 or 50 years. And so my point was, why did it take somebody 40 or 50 years to figure out how to play the game the right way? Yeah. And then I started giving all these examples from the sports world.
That's amazing. But you know that Rick Barry free throw deal, very few people are using it. I mean, but he had great success. It was a rhythm.
He would tell you today, and evidence proves that it is the best way to shoot. Wilt Chamberlain was the highest scoring point guy in NBA history, but he was a terrible free throw shooter like Shaquille O'Neal was.
Let me
but one year, the year that Wilt averaged 50 points a game, he shot them underhand like Rick Barry, and his percentage went from 49% to 60%.
Just get it up then it's liable.
He improved by 11% in 1 year, which is amazing.
Got to get this.
But then he discarded it and said people were laughing at him and it was silly, and he went away from it.
Hope you'll tune into our show at 1:30 today. And of course, I want to mention that this show is brought to you by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and the Ram trucks. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody. And of course, my good friend Jason Gregory and all the folks at Premier want you to come by today and buy a brand new car or truck or used car or truck. And we appreciate your support. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, Ryan.
I saw Jason at church. He went to First Methodist Church with his family.
Yeah. Great guy.
Yep, great guy.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Slam Dunk Savings are in Troy. All used cars, Slam Dunk price. All used trucks, Slam Dunk price. All used SUVs, Slam Dunk price. Plus, all you need is a weekly take-home income of $350. Nobody beats a premier deal. Nobody.
The all-new Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center brings all of the latest and advanced 3D mammography and breast ultrasound services to the Troy area in our all-new outpatient facility. Dr. Lauren Thorington, along with our team of certified breast specialists, read your mammograms, which are performed by our registered radiologic technologists, bringing the best in women's health care to the Troy area. Troy Regional Women's Diagnostic Center.
I wish you could taste how much better